production in America. Now, do you think that they have been successful in their efforts? And do you think they've been successful in their efforts? Let me just give you a couple of quick examples. This is one of my personal favorite examples, is what I like to think of, a little vignette that I like to think of as invisible lines. I live in New Mexico. I took this role as executive director of this organization in January of 2007. Prior to my taking this position, truly, I knew absolutely nothing, well maybe slightly more, but about oil and gas other than flipping the switch on the wall and putting gas in my car. I do not have a long history in this industry, but right at the time I took over this organization, I accepted the leadership role of this organization. In New Mexico, we have an area that is called the Valle Vidal. Any of you know what I'm talking about? Valle Vidal? This area, in January of 2007, was passed, Congress passed, the Valle Vidal Federal Protection Act. The Valle Vidal is an area in northeastern New Mexico that has one of the largest known natural gas reserves in America. And do you know what the Valle Vidal Federal Protection Act did? Shut it down. Took it out of production. We cannot access that natural resource. However, there's an invisible line, and the invisible line separates the Valle Vidal from a privately owned ranch in northern New Mexico. And this privately owned ranch is owned by none other than Ted Turner. On Ted Turner's ranch, he has 500 natural gas wells. There is absolutely nothing that separates the Valle Vidal from Ted Turner's ranch except for an invisible line. On our side, where we American citizens could get financial benefit from the resources there, we are not allowed to touch that natural gas. But on the other side of the invisible line, Ted Turner, I like to think of it as he is putting his straw into our cup and sucking out that natural resource. Now, down on the coast of Florida, and we've looked a lot in this last 6 months at oil and gas resources in the Gulf of Mexico, but off the coast of Florida, what's just right south of the tip of Florida? Cuba. Okay? Now, what's out there in those waters between Cuba and the United States? Oil. What divides the United States and Cuba? Hey, what? Play along with me here. What? Thank you, Angela. An invisible line separates them. Now, on our side of the invisible line, can we access that resource? No. No. But on the other side, on Cuba's side, can they? Yes.
They drill safer than we do.
I'm sorry?
They drill safer.
Oh, yeah, dream on.
They're smart.
That was kind of my next line, so thank you for being right with me here. I'm glad you followed along, because who do you think would extract the resource more cleanly? The United States or Cuba? And of course, is Cuba actually going to extract the resource? No. No. Who are they leasing the rights to? China. China. Technology. Good. Okay. Now let's see if you know this one as well. That's one story. Now let's go north. Great Lakes. In the Great Lakes, there's an invisible line that separates what from what? Canada and the United States. Okay, your geography is good. So, what's underneath the Great Lakes? You can probably guess because I'm on a theme here. So what's underneath the Great Lakes? Oil, natural gas, natural resources. On our side of the invisible line, are we allowed to access and add money to our federal coffers? No. No. But who is? Canada. And then what do they do with that natural gas that they extract? They sell it to us. Okay? Now, does this make any sense? No. Now, there are more stories than that, I'm sure, but those are the 3 little vignettes that I like to share that address that, we do not access the resource that we have in this country. Then, of course, the more current example is the moratorium, the drilling moratorium in the Gulf. Now, that is the craziest thing in the whole wide world. Killing jobs. All of this is killing jobs, which is what America needs right now so drastically. Now, another one that's a new favorite of mine, and this is, I like to call this little vignette, this is my mule story. And a couple months ago, June 2nd, I received a letter, someone forwarded a letter to me, that they had received from the Forest Service in Montana. And in Montana, there is a place where there is known resource. Now, this particular one doesn't happen to be oil and gas, it happens to be tungsten is the resource. But tungsten is important in energy because it's a mineral that is used to harden steel. There is a foreign company, a company from Australia, who wants to bring foreign money into America, create jobs in America. And they have applied for an exploration mining permit in Finley Basin in Montana. There is known resource there because in the 70s, Union Carbide mined there. They had a mining operation there. Now, what happened there, I'm not sure, but that's irrelevant to today's story. The Forest Service approved the exploration permit in Montana. However, they approved it with a few caveats. The caveats are, and I have a copy of the letter with me, should any of you want to see it, it's on my thumb drive, but I do have it with me. The caveats are, first, the mining, the drilling equipment must be brought to the location with a team of pack mules. This is for real. A team of pack mules. Next thing is, the pack mules, excuse me, that's not next. The next thing is, the land where they're going to be exploring for tungsten must be cleared with hand tools. The mules must be fed. Now this is our federal government determining what the mules in the pack mule team need to be fed. Do you think they have too much time on their hands? Perhaps there are too many of them. These mules must be fed certified weed-free hay. The trash generated from the workers' lunches must be packed out daily.